You're welcome back to the Gavel. Now, it appears to be a case of 1 week, one trouble for the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. The NNPC has for weeks now been at the center of a probe by the Senate of alleged unremitted funds from oil revenue to the Federation. While that probe is ongoing, the House of Representatives has begun another investigation also involving the NNPC. Let's see. For Nigeria's state-owned oil company, NNPC, the saying, "It never rains but pours," is apt. The corporation has been at the center of non-stop controversies in the past months. The newly suspended CBN governor, Sanusi Lamido, blew open the lid on the matter of unremitted oil revenue by the NNPC to the Federation account. While that matter was simmering, a Swiss-based non-governmental organization, Berne Declaration, alleged that the NNPC was involved in fraudulent crude oil transactions. The NNPC during the week appeared before the House of Reps committee probing the alleged connivance of the NNPC with Swiss oil dealers, which has led to the country losing billions of naira. The NNPC gave its position at the investigative hearing.
That since the publication of the report titled "Swiss Traders Oil OPEC Deals in Nigeria" by the organization popularly known as Berne Declaration, NNPC has left no stone unturned in examining the report in its entirety and investigating internally the facts of major issues raised in the report. Mr. Chairman, members of this distinguished committee, let me further state that the report was a clear attempt to paint a negative picture of NNPC internal operations with regards to sales and export of crude oil. The report is false, unfounded, and is aimed at portraying NNPC in bad light to the public.
The members of the House Committee had questions for officials of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NETI, especially on the $866 billion under deliveries to the country.
In your report, you said Nigeria was at loss as at 2011 to the tune of $500 million, 75,239 cents, 0.3. And the total loss between 2009 and 2011, total loss to Nigeria due to under delivery was 866,189,632.47. That is the total loss to Nigeria in 2011. If I get you right. Did you discuss all these reports with PP, MC, and NNPC?
The answer is yes, but permit me to explain also further. NNPC sits on the NETI board. The board of NETI decides when audits are going to be conducted and determines and approves the terms of reference. Also determines how an auditor is selected and approves the selection of the auditor. The conduct of the NETI audit includes participation of all the entities that are covered by the audit. It starts with us bringing all the government entities and the companies together and discussing with them the templates that we will use to collect the data, and they need input into the process. We agreed, then we send out the templates, they provide the data. NETI does not generate any data. All the data in our audit is collected by NETI, is provided to NETI by the companies and the government entities, including NNPC and its relevant business units. When we collect the data, we match what companies have reported with what the government entities have also reported. And where differences are flagged, we bring them together in one room and they go through a reconciliation process that will be super intense over.
Don't get me wrong, what you have presented answers quite a lot of the issues in the Berne Declaration, but at the same time, it does not reference the specific issues contained therein. Is there any reason why you have not referenced those issues in your response? Because the reason I'm raising this is that a lot of your conclusions and that of the Berne report are actually very similar. but at no point do you make any reference to the Berne Declaration. And some people have said in this hall that the Berne Declaration's report is not true, it's misleading. In your own opinion, would you say that that report is misleading? And if not so, why? Because I have come to the conclusion that a lot of your recommendations are in sync with the report of the Berne Declaration. I would therefore ask you also to take time off, as I did with the Central Bank Governor, to look at the conclusions of that report and to provide us with clear responses as to what your own thinking is. The report calls for more transparency in payment flows. It references the new international levels of IT, that is the international body for your own international, you are NNPC, which is Nigeria, that the international body has come up with new rules that requires greater details of publication of revenues derived from these sales. In your opinion, again, would you say that given what you have presented, that you are asking for a higher standard of transparency?
Now, Honorable question is whether we are aware of the declaration document. Yes, we are. We've seen it, we've reviewed it. And maybe there is an adjustment we have to do because we took a conscious decision not to make copious references to it. We took a decision to just stick to the audit report. We saw the similarity between what is reported by the declaration and what is in the 90 audit report. The figures are not the same, but the pattern is similar. Theirs might be extracted just a couple of data we did an audit, so we couldn't compare our figures with theirs one-to-one. We tried to do that, it wasn't, we found that it wasn't necessary, but clearly the report has some substance. I'm not saying it is 100% accurate, but these losses are similar to the losses that the NGO also reported in its audit. And if the committee so desires, NIT can go back and take time, like you said, to link some of our conclusions to the conclusions of the Berne Declaration document.
The Transparency Agency also asked that the 445,000 barrels domestic allocation should be reviewed.
The NIT audit report for 2012 has just kicked off. It is only when the audit is conducted that we'll be able to establish what has been paid from the balances that are outstanding at the close of the 2011 period. We have no way of stating categorically without any doubts that payments have been made. We may have some information, but as long as it's not reconciled, it's not validated, we will hesitate in giving out such information.
However, at the continuation of the investigative hearing, the NNPC once again dismissed the claim by the Swiss-based non-governmental organization, Berne Declaration, that the agency disposed crude oil below market price. The corporation also said its pricing strategy is aligned to international best practices in the industry.
Mr. Chairman, particularly mention of 3 Swiss-based trading companies was made in the report, alleging the companies are being favored and lifting over 36% of NNPC's volumes. Again, on this, nothing can be further from the truth, as our records show that the companies did not lift more than 10% of Nigerian crude oil volume.
But a federal lawmaker says allegations of shady dealings by the NNPC is not new.
We have done everything we can do as representatives of the Nigerian people to try to bring these issues to the fore and to get us as a country to reconsider the way we are dealing with our energy reserves and the opportunities that are being lost by the way we are dealing with these things. But when we say these things, people interpret them politically, but they are not political because they predate our politics, And as a society, as a country, as people of conscience, we need to come together and actually solve these problems and solve them as quickly as possible. For people to continue to take advantage of these lapses to enrich themselves and their cronies, and then try to block any form of reform, that is what is both a moral, if not a legal crime. But we know that these lapses are there. If we work together, we can control them, and we can improve on them, and we can change. The PIB is one of such efforts that is being made to try to bring change to the sector. But even here in the PIB, we're still noticing, some tendencies to still try to keep some measure of political control of our oil revenues.
The Senate Committee on Finance has been conducting its own investigation into allegations made by the newly suspended CBN governor that the NNPC failed to remit $20 billion into the Federation account. As it stands, both chambers of the National Assembly are investigating different allegations against the NNPC over shady crude oil transactions. But it is one thing for the National Assembly to conduct an investigation, and another for the investigation to be completed, made public, and individuals made accountable for their actions. Now, this is where we draw the curtains for this week's edition of the Gavel. If you have any views or opinions on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us, and see you again next week.